a league member associated with the Pelicans believe New Orleans should pull the plug on the Zion Williamson era. Quote, that one person associated with a team tells The Athletic that New Orleans should pull the plug on the Zion Williamson era while they have the chance this offseason. While another person tells The Athletic he believes Zion Williamson is going to be fueled by all this controversy that occurred this offseason and become an MVP candidate this coming year. How ridiculous does that sound? Do you guys think that's something possible? Well, let's talk about it. What do you think?
Oh, it's extremely possible.
Why?
Well, Zion Williamson is a freak athlete, and he's averaged over 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists.
Get up all in Mariah Mills' butt cheeks.
I think he's done with that. I mean, Zion, even when he was at Duke, was a stud, obviously. So, I mean, he's a stud. And he was selected to be an MVP candidate. So, yeah, his legend precedes him. I mean, it's going to come down to health. I would think more of like the Pelicans record than health.
Well, for me, I mean, this article, shout out William Guillory and John Hollinger. Like, we got to take stock on where things stand right now with the New Orleans Pelicans entering this season, okay? You know, Brandon Ingram missed a bunch of games. The two guys, Zion Williamson and Brandon Ingram, over the past two seasons have only played 12 games together, okay? And I personally, if this season's another disappointment, would seriously consider trading one of those guys, personally Zion over Brandon Ingram, just because Brandon Ingram has been more available. But the Pelicans are facing salary cap difficulties in both the short term and the long term. They enter this year with pressure higher than, years before, because they tried trading Jonas Valanciunas, but nobody wanted him. And it's right now seems like a priority to move him for someone cheaper or someone long term. And at the same time, when we go back to Zion Williamson, the technology company Anchor PBC has filed a civil lawsuit against Zion Williamson, his stepfather, and his mother, writes Brett Martell of the Associated Press. The lawsuit alleges Zion Williamson and his family failed to pay back $1.8 million of a $2 million loan. Anchor had hoped Williamson would be a spokesperson for the company, with his stepfather, Lee Anderson, serving as his representative during negotiations, per Martell. Anderson is the person who requested the loan a couple of years ago, the lawsuit states. And we know that Jose Alvarado is currently recovering from the stress fracture in his right tibia, and that's preventing him from representing Puerto Rico. And he's a guy who, we assume that will probably get an extension, as he averaged 9 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, and about 1.5 steals in 21 minutes a night in 61 games. While Kyra Lewis Jr. is a trade candidate that they're trying to dump his salary to take them out of luxury tax and maybe package him with Jonas Valanciunas. So with all this information, I just think it's really weird. And sorry for talking a bunch, but I just think it's like an odd situation where they're at when you just look at the team in the whole. What do you think?
Well, I still think they need a point guard.
What about Dyson Daniels, CJ McCollum?
Neither of them are point guards. I think they're still going to be a really good team if they're healthy. I mean, even as an unhealthy team last year, I mean, they dealt with so many injuries last year. I mean, the Brandon Ingram injury, I think, was pretty, I wouldn't say forgotten about, but under-recognized almost. Brandon Ingram missed a chunk. Zion was an all-star this year. Did you know that?
Somehow.
So yeah, in Zion's last 2 seasons that he's played, he's been an all-star. He's never averaged, in his rookie year, he averaged 22.5 points. So if Zion isn't healthy, yeah, you have to look to probably move on from him, because the money is just going to get too tight. And for a guy who's not playing, why would you have that? But if Zion's on the court, the Pelicans will be close to a probably 50-win team. The Pelicans are very similar to the Bulls last year. The way they started the season, they were one of the best when they were healthy. So there's a lot of talent. I mean, I think long term you're going to wait and see this year, because I think this is a pretty big year for Herb Jones here. Let's see what we got in him along with Trey Murphy. That would make future decisions a lot more clear.
Over under Zion Williamson 500 pounds in the 5 years.
It's going to be under. Be insane.
Just to wrap this up, I want to say the fact that with Zion Williamson, I always love to bring this up. He has played more games than Joel Embiid did in his first 4 seasons. And we're not over here sitting about Joel Embiid, okay? Yes, the first 4 years can be, very telltale. But every time Zion Williamson has touched the basketball court, he's looked better than Joel Embiid did his first 4 years. He's been, like you said, an all-star. So for me, I think this is a huge situation that I think they need to take advantage of. And really, I mean, obviously, if Zion misses the entire season again, I think that changes the whole dynamics. And even if Brandon Ingram, maybe you do rebuild. But I'm just kidding. I just think it definitely is interesting. That's it. That's what I have about this.
Zion gets so much crap when in reality he was 22 years old last year, and he just turned 23 this month. And it's crazy. Like in football, like a 23-year-old is nothing.
It's a rookie.
You're not giving up on a 23-year-old because he just got into the league 1 month ago.
Unless your name is Trey Lance.
And the thing is, like, I'll use my Rockets as an example. Kevin Porter Jr. was 22 last year for us, and now he's 23, and I'm extremely hopeful about his future. I guess the difference is he's touched the court and hasn't been severely limited by injuries, and also wasn't selected and didn't have the same hype as Zion coming out of college. But like, what I'm saying, I'm not giving up on a 23-year-old Kevin Porter Jr. He's still extremely young to me. And yeah, Zion, 2-time All-Star. You're not going to give up on him unless you like really have to. Same, look, it's like a Lonzo Ball situation, but different.
No, I get what you mean, though. It is different, but
if Zion's done this year, yes, yeah.
You think?
I mean, you can't constitute the money that would go into. I mean, if Zion was on like a Ben Simmons or a future Ben Simmons contract or a Russell Westbrook, we haven't reached that. We're not even close to that stage. It just if my star player is playing 20 games a year, and that's happened 4 out of his 5 years, yeah, you gotta probably look to move on, unfortunately.
I got you. All right, let's go into talking about